Whether I film in the morning, afternoon, night, midnight, midday, there is always noise. And that is part of the reasons why I want to talk about house hunting. If you're in the phase of starting over, relocating, trying to figure out your life, your environment plays a key role in maintaining your peace. And as someone who has just graduated from the phase of house hunting, I decided that as much as there are several information on this subject already, I want to add to the body of knowledge. I also want to give you my CV as to why I am qualified to talk about this subject. This CV would be narrated in a story. Three phases. I had been living with my parents and I was just tired of being ashamed when I sleep for long hours. I'm sleeping, but I can't really sleep peacefully because I know that the next thing that is coming is why are you still sleeping when you haven't gotten fulfillment? You're supposed to wake up, you're supposed to get things done before you can just sleep like that. Or I'm working on something on my laptop and I look like I'm lazy, I'm not doing anything important. I also had not experienced having a room to myself and I really wanted to see what that was like. I just wanted to be me, amongst many other things that I can't obviously narrate in this video. I decided that I think I would move out. The problem is I didn't actually have a job. So what I had at the time was just an amount of money I had saved and my faith. I wanted to test out what it would be like to inform my parents that I was moving out. And so I called my parents and I told them that I wanted to move out and they were like, to where? And I'm like, oh, I just want to rent a house somewhere in Port Harcourt. And they're like, what happened to our house? I'm like, nothing, but I'm tired. I just want my own freedom and I want my own space. And my dad especially was not having it. He was like, I can't be a landlord and I own a house and you want to live in another landlord's house. Like it doesn't make sense. And you're a girl for that matter. Like, why? I mean, it blew up and I was just like, okay, this is not going to work. So the only way I can achieve moving out would be for me to move out without telling them. At this point, I've been hearing a lot about just start, moving faith without works is dead. As much as I didn't have money, except what I had saved, I just was believing that, yeah, I will move out, I'll get a job, I'll be able to afford my life. I said, okay, let's step out in faith. And then I started house hunting. I house hunted for about 3 months and I was able to find a self contained in a reasonable location. The only issue was that I found the house and then I learned that renting a place is one thing, furnishing it is another thing. The only thing I was able to do was repaint the house and put curtains. I couldn't afford the mattress, I couldn't afford like my stove and any other thing. I was just in my father's house, still trying to figure out how I was going to be able to afford these things before I move out and then have to come back in shame. That didn't work out. 4 months in after I had rented it and I couldn't move in because I couldn't afford my livelihood. I had to quickly withdraw so that they can at least give me the 8 months rent left. So they found a new tenant and then they gave me 8 months of the money I had paid back. I moved the curtains and all the things I'd done in the house back to my father's house, and that was what I used to change up my room. I just gave up. Of course, I told you that in 2021 I relocated to Abuja because I'd been looking for something in Port Harcourt and I didn't find anything. It was easier for me to let them know that I needed to go elsewhere to look for a job, and it was much convenient for me to go to Abuja than even Lagos because I didn't know anybody in Lagos. I couldn't afford rent immediately, and by the way, we had already lived in Lagos a year prior, and I just don't like the place to be honest. So my sister was already in Abuja. She was going to school in Abuja, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to go stay with her. I stayed with her from 2021 to 2022, just a year. And towards the end of the year, I still just wanted to live alone. Again, I had to step out in faith, but this time I was scared because I'd done it the first time and got burned. And once bitten, twice shy. But I was in church and I kept hearing, move in faith without works is dead, just start, just start. Sometimes the reason you're not achieving anything is because you haven't moved out. God is waiting on you while you're waiting on God. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I decided on my budget, I decided on the location, and I started looking for agents and I looked for a house in Abuja. And after several stressful inspections and annoyance from landlords and agents, I finally found a place to call mine. And that was the first time I finally could find my freedom and independence and peace in a higher sense. It was fun, it was beautiful, and everything. And I stayed in the house for 3 years. Of course, if you have seen other of my videos from episode 1 or 2, you know that I had to give up on all the plans I had in Abuja. I didn't find a job. I was not able to afford my livelihood there anymore. Businesses that I started there didn't work out, and I just couldn't. The economy was getting tighter and tighter, and I was like, okay, nah, I have to be honest with myself. And then I decided again, with all the heartbreak in my heart, looks like I have to give up and come back to my hometown. Now, the difference was I had already moved out of my father's house by going to Abuja, and so it was easy for me to come back. I could just rent outside the house, and they were already used to me being away from them for 4 years at this point. So it was easy for them to accept that. Then I started house hunting for the third time, and this is the result. What you can see around you is the result of that. With all this said, I am qualified enough to talk about this subject, even though you didn't ask. I just like telling stories. I hope you like listening to stories. I have some notes here just so that I don't miss anything. First of all, we are going to talk about what you should expect when you are house hunting in Nigeria, and also if you are a single lady, expect it to be stressful. Landlords will stress you, agents will also frustrate you, they will waste your time, they will disappoint you. You will find a house that you actually like, and while you are negotiating, okay, give me your account number, let me pay, they will tell you that someone else has paid for the house. You will ignore your budget that you specifically mentioned. They will ignore the spec of house you want. They will take you to locations you never asked for. They will take you to shrines. They will take you to forests. They will take you to annoying, disgusting places and disgusting environments. Just prepare to be stressed. Secondly, expect agents to pressure you into taking a very rubbish house or a house above your budget. That is why you should actually have a list of things that you really want, because if you don't, and if your mindset is not resolute, they will pressure you into taking a house that you don't actually want. They will say things like, somebody wants to pay now, so you better come and see it before someone comes to pay for it. Or they will tell you things like, someone has already seen the house. If you don't come this evening to come and inspect the house will be gone by tomorrow morning. So start coming. It's a lie. Majority of the time, it's actually a lie. They just want you to quickly come and see the house so that they can get their agency fee. Expect to pay a tad bit more than your rent budget. So there is actually a basic rent, and then there is legal fees, there's caution fee, there's agency fee, there's waste management fee, there's security levy, and many other things that are also hidden in this rent. So expect that you may have to exceed your budget at some point. If you have 800k as your budget, you may likely end up paying up to 1.5 million naira or more. Expect more stress and rejection if you are a single lady. Landlords prefer married people than single men. Even within the single lady category, a single working class woman is preferred to a single businesswoman because at least she has a stable source of income. Unless your business is big, if it's a small business, it's a bit tricky. Also, expect to be questioned more than the normal person. They will ask you things like, are you married? What do you do? Who is your sponsor? Who's your guarantor? Some people would upfront ask you why you are looking for an accommodation when you are single, not factoring the fact that you may have relocated to a whole new place and maybe your parents or family don't even stay there. So how are you going to live? Like, there are several reasons why a single woman wants to live alone, and it's actually not anyone's business. Expect landlords to bring rules. Things like no male visitors, come back at reasonable hours, no late nights, stuff like that. Also expect tribalism from landlords. I saw a property where the landlady said that she didn't want anybody who was Igbo, especially from Enugu, Imo State. She didn't want someone from Calabar as well. So you might see a house you like, but the landlord doesn't like you because of your tribe, based on their bad experience with one random person that you don't actually know. Why? Oh, also expect your agents to have agents of agents. So you'll be communicating with an agent and then they will tell you to come to a certain place. And then you are also preparing to pay the transportation of that agent, only for the agent to tell you that they are waiting for the guy that knows the house. Then the guy that says he knows the house is also waiting for another guy. So expect agents of agents and agents of agents of agents. And most times they will ask you to pay for all of that. Also expect to pay inspection fee for every house that you see. Whether you're going to take a house or not, you are going to pay inspection fee for any house that you see. Also expect that there are some things that you may not necessarily find out until you actually move in. For example, this noise. There was no way I was going to find out because this was a virgin apartment. No one had moved in yet. They gave me the agreement that there is no noise in the area, nobody should make noise and all. So there was no way of me knowing that the behavior of the people that will be here will be noise making. Expect that there are some things that you may not find out and you may have to deal with. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do your due diligence. Prepare your full budget, the max of the rent that you actually would pay, and it can go beyond that. Also, the total moving cost, like how much you're going to spend on moving your things. Also, prepare for at least your curtains or blinds because you at least need to cover the house. Now, for furniture and other things, that is another ball game entirely. You should also prepare for the money that will be left after you pay your rent because you don't want to move into a house and not be able to run your daily activities while you expect your next pay or something. Prepare your non negotiables. What is the aesthetic of this house? What is the location of this house? Should it be close to your school, close to your workplace, close to your church, close to market, or should it be far away from church, far away from markets? What should not be found around you? For example, for me, I didn't want a place where there were mosques or churches or markets or schools. Because when I'm sleeping in, I don't want children's bands in the morning to wake me up or churches shouting to wake me up. So that's something you should also consider. Do you want a gated estate? Do you want your landlord to be living in the compound with you, or do you want your landlord to not be living in the same compound with you? What type of tenants arrangement do you want? Do you want to live in an apartment with married people that have small children, big children, single people, all that? Have a trusted person that will go with you. This is very, very important. You need to make sure of your safety. Either you go with a family member or a friend. Even if you don't have a family member or friend that you can go with, you can just order an Uber and pay for him to wait for you to see what you have to see and drive you back. You also have to prepare your patience. You will hold it tight to your chest because you're going to need it. If you have your non-negotiables, it will be hard for you to see a house. You can agree with me that if you're looking for a partner, you have a particular spec or a particular characteristic that you're not in that partner, you suddenly find it hard to find the right person. That's the same thing about houses. So you have to also be patient in the process. Prepare for agents to send you rubbish. And you have to not be in a hurry. So when you are house hunting, estimate the time that you want to move in and then start house hunting like relatively earlier than that time so that even in your patience you can still find a house within the stipulated time or the estimated time that you have for yourself. Remember that your mindset should be that the house that you're staying in, you would at least be there for a year. So your question is, this is my space and would I have peace in this house for at least a year? If the answer is no, please wait until you actually see what you want so that you can be happy. Another thing that you should prepare for before you start house hunting is your questions. Questions you can ask. Obviously, everyone's questions differs based on their requirements. So have questions that are related to the spec of house that you want. You've seen a house, I like this house. It's cool, the aesthetics fits me and all. You need to check for some things before you finally decide on taking the house. Number one, you have to pull out those questions that you already prepared, and then you would ask them the questions, and then you will use your eyes and also search for the answers around you. For the ones that you can see the answers, you will search for them. Number two, check for noise levels. The reason I am emphasizing this is because this is my current predicament. The noise in this area is annoying. As I'm talking to you, someone is passing, someone is making noise behind me, someone is making noise in front of me. There's speaker here, speaker here, speaker here, and everybody's playing different songs. Check for proper drainage to avoid flooding. This is also a mistake I made. There actually is from the estate inside, but there's this particular blind spot where there is no drainage. So that place gets flooded, and then you pass it and come towards my house area, and then there's drainage again. So that was why I didn't notice. But do your due diligence and make sure that the road networks from wherever the place starts, the estate starts to your house, has drainage all the way. Ask for what the water situation is like. Do they use borehole? Do they use tanker? And who pumps the water? Is it the landlord that pumps the water or the tenant? And how do they shuffle it? For example, in my house right now, every month one person holds the water meter. Right now, I'm the one holding the water meter, so I'm the one that has to credit the water meter so that the security man can be pumping water. And then when this month ends, I will have to give it to the next person and the next person, and so it goes. The light situation, you have to check that as well. Don't ask one person, go around the whole estate and ask people individually. They are more likely to be honest with you. Down to the house itself, check the electricity points. Are all the lights working? Are the sockets working? Are the water heaters working? Check that. Check the plumbing system. You also know my story if you watched episode 2 of my video. The plumbing system was so bad that this whole house smelled like sewage gas. I almost moved out. They were supposed to bring their plumber and they kept telling me, oh, he's in Calabar, he's in Calabar, which is obviously a lie. They wanted me to do it and I had to do it. So if you don't want to spend extra money on plumbing, make sure that the plumbing system already works. Check the windows. Are the nets held properly so that you don't have mosquito and insect situation? Is the window big or small? Is it like these narrow windows that you usually have? As a content creator, I need lights in my house. So the windows are of importance because the bigger and wider the windows, the more light comes into my house. But these particular windows are actually like the long, narrow ones. But because I have lights, that works. But if it's something that you really cannot deal with, make sure that the windows are according to the size that you actually want. Yeah, what is the reputation of the area? You don't want to be in an area where guys are chasing you and bugging you, or where someone is people every day, or where they kidnap people. And so when you hear areas where there are thefts, a lot of theft, or areas where girls are people are kidnapped or stuff like that, just jackpot. Is it a gated estate or not? Having a gated estate, or at least a security, a well secured place, is of importance. So if you happen to be in an area where you can't actually find a gated estate like that, for example in Abuja, gated estates are the thing. But here in Port Harcourt, you can have an estate that is nameless. You can have an estate that is just open. So even if it's an open place, then just make sure that security is tight in that area regardless. Who are your neighbors? Because even though you're checking the reputation of the area, also check the reputation of the neighbors you're with. Are they responsible people? Are they people that keep to themselves, mind their business? Or are they nosy? Are they nosy? Are they troublesome? Will you guys be fighting over clothesline? Will you guys be fighting over pumping water? Will you guys be fighting over random stupid things? Proximity to the road. Now, if you're someone who likes walking on your estates, like on your streets, you might prefer a house that is much more inside. If you're someone who doesn't like walking a long distance, you might prefer the house that is closer to the road, like to the estate gates. So check for proximity as well. Check for any cracks or dampness in the walls. Check for any cracks in the ceiling. Check if there is algae or spirogyra already growing from your walls. Check the doors and the locks. Does it actually lock? Any tiny detail of fault, point it out. If it's something that you can wait for it to be done, you wait. If it's something that is so big that you can't take the house because of it, leave. Also check if they accept pets. That also increase the duration of time you may have to wait when your house hunts it, because many landlords don't accept pets. When you find a house and they didn't actually state that no pets are allowed, you have to still ask them if pets are allowed or not. Ask for things even down to if there is a line outside the house for you to hang your clothes. But this was my situation. I asked and they told me that they were going to fix it. I was in a rush to leave Abuja and come to Port Harcourt so that I would start the new year already enjoying my house. And I came back and there was no line. They were not going to do it. I had to still fix that as well. Same with the electricity system. There was no lights, like barely any lights, even though they've done a bit more work now. So the light has been coming better now. When I first came, there was actually never lights. And no one told me the light. Yeah, they light. They actually do light. So ask, how do they manage waste? Do they just dump it outside? Is there someone that comes to carry it? If you're someone that really wants cleanliness and a fresh smell in your environment, you have to find out how they manage waste. You don't want to be in a house where your neighbors have piles and piles of dustbin. So even if you're clean, your neighbor is disturbing and polluting the atmosphere. Are there any weird rules? Like, oh, you're a single woman, male visitors are not allowed. Are you okay with that? If you're the type of person who likes and has many male friends, you may not like that rule. So that's something to bear in mind. So before you sign the agreement, check for like is there any hidden cost? Is there any payment terms that you don't agree with? Let them fix it. Ask them to explain to you. Get the legal team involved. Let them arrange that legal documents before you sign any contract. Finally, check your gut feeling. If your gut feeling is going off about a house that you saw, despite the fact that everything looks good on paper, you've done your due diligence and it all checks out, but your gut feeling is saying no, go with what your gut says. I hope this was helpful, and until next time, I love you guys. Stay golden. Bye.